I used to think heartbreak came with warning signs. Shifts in tone, late-night absences, that vague sense something had moved between you. But with Ryan, there were no cracks in the glass. At least none I could see. We'd been married for 6 years, and while life wasn't perfect, it felt stable. He was attentive, remembered the little things, and still reached for my hand in public. The only thing I ever complained about was his workload. Late meetings, out-of-town trips, phone calls that bled into dinner. But he'd always tell me, "It's for us, Emily, for our future." And I believed him. That's why the day it all unraveled, I didn't see it coming. It started with delivery. A package left at our door while Ryan was at work. His name was on the label, but curiosity got the better of me. Inside was a gold bracelet, delicate and expensive, engraved with the words to my forever. I smiled at first, thinking maybe it was for me, but then I saw the small card tucked into the box. "Can't wait to see you next weekend. Love, L." I froze. My name didn't start with L. And Ryan was supposed to be on a business trip next weekend. At first, I convinced myself there was some reasonable explanation. Maybe it was a gift for his sister or a co-worker's birthday. But something inside me, something sharp and cold, told me not to ask. Not yet. Over the next few days, I started watching him more closely. The way he smiled when his phone buzzed. How he'd step outside to answer certain calls. One night, when he was in the shower, I picked up his phone. It was locked, of course, but the notification that lit up the screen was enough. "Lena, I miss you." Lena, a name I didn't know. I didn't sleep that night. My mind was a carousel of images. Ryan's hands on someone else's face, his voice murmuring things he'd once said to me. The next morning, I decided I needed proof. I called his office and asked for him. The receptionist's pause was short, but telling. "Oh, Ryan's on vacation this week." Vacation. He'd told me he was at a client's conference in Chicago. My hand shook so hard, I nearly dropped the phone. I didn't cry right away. Instead, I felt a strange, detached clarity, like I was watching someone else's life. I found the hotel reservation in our email account, booked under his name, but not in Chicago. It was for a seaside resort 3 hours away, and there were 2 guests listed. That Saturday, I drove. My stomach churned the entire way, my mind swinging between the urge to turn back and the need to see. The hotel was beautiful. White balconies, palm trees swaying in the breeze. I spotted them easily. Ryan and Lena, sitting at an outdoor table, laughing like they had all the time in the world. She reached across the table and touched his face, and he kissed her hand. I didn't storm over. I didn't make a scene. I just stood there for a moment, memorizing the way betrayal looked when it was happening in front of you. Then I turned and walked away. That night, I packed his things. I didn't leave a note, just set the bracelet on top of the suitcase. When he came home 2 days later, his key didn't fit the lock. He called. I let it ring. He texted, begged, even came by with flowers. I stayed inside, silent, while he pounded on the door. The truth is, his betrayal wasn't just about the cheating. It was about how easily he lived 2 lives, how convincingly he looked me in the eye while telling me he loved me. And once I saw that, really saw it, I knew there was no going back. The first week, his messages came every hour. "We need to talk." "Please, you don't understand." It's not what it looks like. But I did understand. I understood more than I wanted to. His betrayal wasn't a momentary lapse, a drunken mistake. It was a carefully constructed lie, carried over months, maybe years, while I made dinner for 2 and kept the bed warm for a man who was building a second life. When he finally managed to corner me, outside the grocery store of all places, his face was pale, his eyes frantic. "Emily, please." It was a mistake. I stared at him. Which part? Booking the hotel? Buying her jewelry? Or kissing her hand while you told me you were in Chicago? His mouth open, closed. "I didn't mean to hurt you." That was the thing. He did mean to hide it. He did choose her. Every single day he kept it from me was a choice. "You didn't just hurt me, Ryan," I said, my voice steadier than I felt. "You erased us. While I was loving you, you were somewhere else entirely. That's worse than if you just walked away." He reached for me, but I stepped back, and something in his face shifted. Not regret, resignation. Like he finally realized I wasn't going to crumble into his arms. 2 weeks later, the divorce papers were signed. He didn't contest anything. I heard through mutual friends that Lena didn't stick around long. Apparently, the thrill fades once the lies lose their shine. But I didn't care. This wasn't about revenge. It was about reclaiming the parts of myself I'd handed over without question. Sometimes, late at night, I replay that moment at the resort. The warm air, the sound of the ocean, Ryan's laugh floating across the patio. I used to think it would haunt me forever. Now I realize it's the moment I woke up. The moment I saw the truth without his words twisting it. And as much as it hurt, I'll never be that blind again. 2 months later, I went back to that same seaside resort. Not for him, but for me. I booked the same balcony room Ryan had reserved for his little getaway. I sat there at sunset with a glass of wine, watching couples stroll the beach. And for the first time, I didn't feel broken. I felt free. As I sipped, I noticed a man and woman walk past on the sand. The man's gait was achingly familiar. When he turned, the last of the daylight caught his face. Ryan. But this time, his hand wasn't in Lena's. It was in someone else's, another woman younger, with hair the color of fire. Our eyes met. He froze mid-step, color draining from his face. The woman tugged at his hand, impatient, unaware of who I was. I raised my glass to him in a slow, deliberate toast. No anger, no tears, just a quiet acknowledgement that his cycle would never end, and I was no longer part of it. Then I turned back to the sunset, letting him walk away like the stranger he had become. That was the night I realized that betrayal had freed me from more than just a marriage. It freed me from ever mistaking his kind of love for the real thing. And the next morning, I woke up with the ocean in my ears and not a trace of him in my heart.